Hello and welcome to Martin's English. Now, I've been asked to talk about cause and effect. And when I heard that, someone wanted me to talk about cause and effect, I thought, well, hold on. That's not an English lecture, that's a physics lecture. I mean, if I grab something, right, and I dropped it, then it falls to the ground, right? Um, that's not English, that's physics. But then I thought, oh, wait a moment. I'm not talking about cause and effect per se. I'm talking about the sentence pattern, right? If I drop something, it falls, right? So in Chinese, you say "yin wei wo diu shema su yi." I don't know, ta da ban, okay, or whatever you used to call the floor, right? So in English, okay, in Chinese you use the pattern yin wei and suo yi. In English we don't, right? We do not say because and so. We either say because I drop something, it hits the floor, or I drop something, so it hits the floor. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay. Second, I thought, well, what am I going to use as an example? How am I going to talk about cause and effect? The first thing I thought about was dramas in Taiwan, okay? Because in Taiwan, you have dramas where a man meets a woman, and you think, oh, okay, they're going to fall in love. But they don't fall in love right away, right? For some reason, they have to spend time together, okay? It's part of the plot, okay? So because they spend time together, they fall in love. Okay, well, fine. But there's always, okay, that's not the end of the drama though. In the Taiwan dramas, they go on for several episodes. So there's always maybe an ex-boyfriend who is jealous, or an ex-girlfriend of his who is jealous. And because they are jealous, because they are jealous, they try to break them up, okay? And because they try to break them up, they create a misunderstanding. And because there is a misunderstanding, they break up, right? Feng Shou, break up. Okay, fine. But of course, that's not the end of it. It's still not the end of the drama, right? You have many episodes of crying, right? You know, because they really love each other, they're going to cry, right? And because they are so sad and they really love each other, they will eventually get back together, and then it's the end of the drama. Okay. So then I started thinking, well, fine, but you know, they shouldn't just be watching Taiwan dramas, right? You don't watch Taiwan dramas to learn English, right? So I should come up with some examples of movies in English where there's cause and effect. And I was trying to think of dramas, right? Like Sleepless in Seattle. But it's been so long since I watched Sleepless in Seattle, I don't remember what happened, right? I mean, I know that, you know, Tom Hanks' character falls in love with Meg Ryan's character, and then they break up, and then they get back together, but I don't remember why or how. So I thought, okay, maybe instead we can talk about Avengers movies, right? Because most people have seen the Avengers movies, right? Starting with the first Avengers movie, right? We can say, because Loki invaded Earth with an army, the Avengers got together to stop him. And that's straight from the comics, straight from Avengers #1, right? The Avengers formed in the comics to fight Loki, Now, then you have, that's the first movie. Then you have Avengers Age of Ultron. What happens in that movie? Well, in that movie, Tony Stark is worried, right? Because Tony Stark is worried, he builds robots to defend the Earth, right? He doesn't build other Iron Man suit and have an army of Iron Men, right? The government does not create 100 super soldiers or 100 Hulks, right? Or Thor doesn't bring down an army of Asgardian warriors. No, they don't do that. Not in the first movie, right? Or the second movie, right? No, Tony Stark builds these AI. And of course, one of the AI becomes sentient. And you know from any movie where you have sentient robots, that's a bad thing, right? Like the Matrix movies or the Terminator movies. So of course, Ultron tries to take over the world, right? And because Ultron tries to take over the world, the Avengers get back together to stop him. And so they stop him, right? And we're already 2 movies in, right? And the next movie is Captain America Civil War, right? And in that movie, Tony Stark is feeling guilty. Tony Stark created Ultron. The Avengers stopped Ultron, but many people died. So Tony Stark says, fine. He says to the government, fine. Whatever you want, I'm going to do for you. And they say, what about the other Avengers? We want all the Avengers to do as we say. And of course, Captain America, well, he's already angry at Tony Stark because of Ultron. Now he's even more angry. He says, hey, Tony, I don't want to do whatever the government tells me to do. So we can say, because the government wants the Avengers to do as they say, Steve Rogers, Captain America, is angry, right? So the Avengers fight, okay? And not only do the Avengers fight, but also Hulk fights Thor. This has nothing to do with Tony Stark and Ultron. This happens in a completely different movie, but the whole idea is that all the Avengers are fighting other Avengers, right? And so the Avengers end up being scattered far and wide. I mean, Hulk and Thor are even in another galaxy. So, of course, what happens is, in Infinity War, Thanos comes along, he easily defeats the Avengers, okay? Because the Avengers are scattered far and wide, Thanos is able to defeat the Avengers. And because Thanos defeats the Avengers, he is able to kill half of all life in the entire universe. So this is a big cliffhanger ending, right? And then finally you get to Avengers Endgame. And in Avengers Endgame, Captain America, the Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, they're all back together again. And they say, okay, we're back together again. We're going to go back after Thanos and we're going to defeat him this time. Well, if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame, I'm not going to spoil it for you, all right? But I'll tell you this. Because the Avengers get back together, they are able to defeat Thanos, right? And remember what I said about 100 Asgardian warriors, okay? So they have this big Avengers assemble a scene where you have like 400 people, and presumably are all Avengers now, all right? So they're able to defeat Thanos, spoiler alert, right? Oh, but because Thanos comes to Earth for the second time, two of the Avengers dies. Well, 2 of them die, okay? So that is, okay, spoiler alert, I won't tell you who dies, okay? Fair enough, okay? But that's how Avengers Endgame dies. You could say, because the actors are expensive and their contracts are up, so their characters were killed off. Anyway, that's 10 minutes. I have to stop right now. Goodbye.